planning meeting. Just to, I'm going to say this and cross my fingers that it doesn't happen, but I am on notice for a call for work. We're going to cross our fingers that we can get through this without getting interrupted. If I didn't say anything, they won't call. Now that I mention it, they probably will. So we'll try to get through what we need to get through tonight. It's going to be just a brief check-in with everybody and then running through the logistics. Any issues that I know of to date, plus talking about some budget numbers that I'm still in need of. So let's get kicked off. There's some new faces here tonight that we don't normally see. So I want to start and kick off with Mike. Welcome, Mike, to our meeting tonight. He's kind of been making the rounds, doing some interviews, preparing for an article that he's writing. So Mike, if you have anything that you need from us, we'll turn it over to you, ask some questions, get what you need, and then you are free to head out whenever you need to.
I think I'm in pretty good shape. If some of you think of a volunteer that would be fun for me to talk to in the next day or two, that'd be great. A little bit of background. I'm a freelance writer, editor, used to work for the newspaper in Corvallis. I'm working with a couple of colleagues on communications work for the City of Independence. I've already done a story on the Independence Landing project and how that came to be. It seemed like the obvious topic for the June issue where we received release was something on how Independence Days is coming back. So I will put in the chat my email address. If you think of somebody, just fire me a note and I'll see if I can follow up with them. My main fear now is that, well, let me just rephrase that. Karen has been very clear that my deadline for this is 8 a.m. on Monday, so I'm going to hit that come heck or high water.
I think Kim would be a great person for you to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I
agree with that.
Does have some insight on pre-independence days. When it was double up. Yes.
I think that would be pre-Western days.
Yeah,
Very
when
well
I
could be,
started,
actually.
it was still a joint community. It was still Monmouth and Independence together doing the parade and Western days. It was pre-Rotary taking over the parade.
Wow.
Mike, did you get Grace and Lonnie Sanner on your list?
No.
Yeah.
Definitely. They manage Ash Creek Mobile. Well, actually, I don't know if they still manage it, but they live at Ash Creek Mobile Park in the manager's house, the house that the manager's office is in.
Okay. What was the last name again?
Sanner, S-A-N-N-E-R.
Okay, S-A-N-N-E-R. All right. Yeah, I'll reach out to them tomorrow and see if I can. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thanks.
All right. Well, I think you have a good place to continue working from. I know you've already started and talked to a lot of us. So feel free to reach out if you have any more questions along the way. Vicki, why don't we go ahead and check in with you, see if Ida has any questions for us, any needs from us.
Thank you. We did have a general Ida meeting this morning, and Sue Barker, who is with the Riverview City Market, was wondering about the availability of the area, because I know often the market gets kind of set aside on festival days. She was hoping they could stay. She also had vendors who are interested in paying a fee to Independence Days if you're having any kind of setups and would like to be able to, because they're earlier, they're finished earlier in the day and wanted to be included in evening things if that's possible.
Sure, absolutely. In answer to Sue's question, I know part of the contract that she has from the city does state that it does close for that day. And even though we won't be starting until later in the day on Saturday, there's a lot of setup that goes into place earlier in the day. So it's definitely a day that they won't be able to be out there, at least not at the park. I know that there's two separate ones that go on. I don't know if she has her hand in both of them or just.
No, just Riverview. So
yeah.
would her vendors be able to participate as vendors in the Independence Days?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can do that. Lisa at Same as It Never Was has the applications right now.
Okay.
And then just to throw it out there, something that we tried in the past with the market there was the market itself getting a booth and then having their individual vendors kind of come in and take it for a few hours. The only catch to that is it would have to be something that they could easily set up and take down if they wanted to share a booth and split it with their own vendors, because having the people go back and forth is a little bit difficult. But I mean, it's something that we can definitely talk about. I know that we tried that before.
Okay. So
But yeah, absolutely, there's room for vendors still.
Should Sue check in with Lisa or with you, Janice?
Probably with Lisa.
Okay.
Lisa, she did step down from our commission last year, but she's agreed to continue on and help with that.
Oh,
this year
great.
as we
Yeah,
kind of
she's
bring
such a
things back.
powerhouse.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have Sue connect with her then. Great, thank
Okay.
you.
Sounds good. All right, it looks like we have a couple people from the Grove here tonight. It's nice to see you guys. It's been a while. You guys are actually on my agenda to talk about tonight, not you per se, but Church in the Park. We have some logistics to work out there that are going to be a little bit different this year than any other year. So I'm glad you guys are here. So we can kind of take that opportunity and I'll check in with you guys and then I'll let you know kind of what our logistical hangup is right now. So thanks for coming in. Do you guys have anything you need to let us know, talk about?
Well, we're game to do it, and we would love to be a part of it. You know, it's kind of tricky with them doing the Church in the Park over in Monmouth at the same time. I know that the hope is that we'll get as many people involved and many other churches involved as possible. And you know, we're really trying this year to make that happen as well. And so, yeah, we would love to, but it's kind of hard. We're not sure, you know, if it's happening. So it's kind of hard to even recruit other churches and stuff like that till we have an idea on that. By the way, I want to introduce, we have a new pastor in Independence. It's Ben. So he's helping us out over in Independence now. And so he's going to be pretty integral and part of this as well. But yeah, you know, we'd love to continue to do it. It's been a long-standing part of the event, and we'd love to continue making it part of the event. So yeah, in any way we can help with those logistics, if there's anything we can do, we've got volunteers that would be willing to help with that. And yeah, we're highly motivated to make it happen. So I understand from Aaron. Hi, Aaron. How's it going? I understand from Aaron that one of the struggles is letting people in at that point and then making sure we clear them out so that the limited number of wristbands aren't, you know, so, well, or the people that come to Church in the Park aren't then still in the park when you open it up for the event. And, you know, that's something that we'd be willing to help out with and think through as well and get the communication out there that needs to happen. So, and I don't know what other logistics, you know, I know we probably have the logistics of sound and stage and all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, so I don't know if anybody has any questions for us or anything along those lines.
This is it all. I had a question for Janice. Were you gonna look at those logistics today, or is that something that's gonna be tabled again?
No, that's what I was talking about when I first started talking about Church in the Park, is we're going to tackle those tonight. That's why I was saying that I'm glad to see you guys here to give your input and to hear what
I
the
know that I had to pull Andy and Ben some big strings to get them to be able to free up today. Because everybody's really busy, but
Yeah, we'll deal with it tonight, but that's on the list. As a matter of fact, we're going to jump into it right now. So Andy and Ben are obviously we want to continue with this. It's all, it's been a long, like you said, a long-standing thing, and it's not an impossible task. It's just going to look different this year. It's going to look very different. And the first area that it's going to look different is in the past, the park hasn't been completely closed off 24 hours, right? We put our gates up at a certain time. We take them down at a certain time because we have to control the population in the park. The park is going to be closed down completely. Gates are going to be closed, everything until we are ready to open up the park, let everybody in. That's where we're running into a logistical issue. And some of the things that Aaron and I kind of talked about is how we could do this. Getting you guys to come in and set up through the top of the park is probably not going to be easy this year. So our solution to that is to bring you in through the dog park area, and you guys use the footbridge to bring whatever stuff you need to bring in. That's the easy part. The hard part is people coming in and out. So a couple of things that we have is either if they're going to attend church in the park, they have to purchase a wristband to be able to get in that day. I'm not crazy about that idea, just because it's always been something that I don't want to. I don't know, this may sound crass, but I don't want to charge somebody to come to church. It just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. So that's
you're going to give part of the admission as a type
out of the park and still be able to maintain the control of the population. So Aaron, I don't know if you've had any other ideas. Andy, Ben, if you guys can think of anything, that's what we need to tackle tonight and get a handle on.
I'm wondering if there could be, and I don't know how this works. I know at the church we have to do contact tracing and all of that kind of thing. I don't know if that's something that's just kind of automatic through the purchase of the wristbands, if that contract tracing takes place along that, or even if you have to do that. So I think somebody has their hand raised.
Nathan.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but in light of all of the recent kind of big news about protocols possibly being lifted in the middle of June, if we hit a 70% vaccination rate, which seems totally attainable, should we maybe be thinking about going full bore old school and not really being worried about limiting the numbers? Or I see one nay.
So here's why
I know
that
the info is really fresh, but I thought maybe right at the beginning of this meeting we could get it out of the way, because that was one of my central questions is, are we still going to be under the same restrictions as we thought we were even 4 days ago?
Mm-hmm. No, that's a really, really good question. And I put a lot of thought into this, talked to a few people. Here's where I'm at. And again, this isn't my decision to make, it's our decision to make. In my head, what makes sense is we move forward with planning as we are right now. It is easy to make that transition to open everything up. It's a heck of a lot harder to pull it all back. Any thoughts on that? I mean, that's just where my head is, but.
Well, I don't know if y'all heard.
We're planning for, so much security and so much volunteer help. If we go full bore, then it's find people now kind of thing.
Right.
So it's definitely better to keep it small and then make it bigger.
I guess what I'm afraid of is in a post-COVID world where everything's been lifted, the community and surrounding communities are going to assume full bore and wonder why we're only allowing certain numbers in the park and everything.
We still have to operate under what we can safely operate under. And I think Aaron raised a really good point. If we're only prepared for 8,000 people, even if we completely open up, if we can't handle that, then it's a safety issue in that respect in a completely different manner.
Sure. In terms of having enough security in case something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's other stuff too. Like from a search standpoint, I know search isn't a huge part of it, but we do tend to fill a lot of roles in the park, from gates to foot patrols to, you know, having a booth and a space down there. And typically I'm recruiting from 4 or 5 other county programs, and I start that recruitment April 1st to get those signups.
Mhm.
And I haven't done that because we were going to have a scale back response and it wasn't necessary. So, you know, we often do like 600 hours on average for that, you know, 3 to 4 day event. And there's no way I could commit to even a quarter of that at this point in time, not
Sure.
knowing what the other county programs are going to do. So that would be really tough for me to support.
Word.
All right, I think that was a great point, Nathan. I'm glad you brought it up early to kind of talk about. We're getting sideways here with what we started
Yeah.
with.
No,
so-
I just wanted to raise the issue and to see if there
Yeah.
were any changes. So thank you.
No, totally. I appreciate it. All right, let's go back to this people in and out of the park. I don't know, any thoughts or ideas on it, guys? We had kind of a month to stew on it and talk about it.
Well, that's
I
why
think- I
Sorry,
think currently we're at the point where we could probably utilize the roundabout instead of the dog park for the church service. We could allow people to park in the parking lot of the park and then usher them out, and we'll know everybody's gone because there won't be any cars, foot traffic maybe. But instead of that's a long jaunt from the dog park to the stage.
Mhm.
So if we could utilize the roundabout area to get people through, I think that's more manageable than I'm right here in the front of everything. Hello, we're opening the gates, kind of thing. But
So if they come in the roundabout and they go into the amphitheater, how do we ensure that everybody's out of the park? Or is this,
We'll
I
just-
mean,
flush them out. But yeah.
Yeah, and we can help out a lot with that. I mean, it's hopefully you would think people would be compliant with that, and that it would it's something that we could communicate way ahead of time. Ben, we can really start to communicate that up front, that everybody's got to clear out. In all of our communication, we could do that, and just make sure that people realize that. And so if you give us a time to say everybody's got to be out by here, then we'll make sure that that we do absolutely everything we can to make that happen. So we would kind of just need to know, what time does everybody need to be absolutely out by, including us. I mean, getting our equipment out of there and everything. So,
Aaron, am I hearing you say they could park in the parking lot?
Yeah, I have no reason why the parking lot would be closed.
Well, the parking lot will have the
Cone setup.
boards, the safety corridor set up for the Saturday night show. And we
Yes,
would
that's
not want to
true.
take that
Well,
down before
yeah.
the Sunday night show,
Would that?
preferably.
Yeah.
They could
I
park
didn't think-
around it, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking Saturday. I don't know why, but I was thinking church was on Saturday before the first show. So, yeah, but
For some people, I think that's true.
yeah. Well, I think we could still logistically manage it. People could park around that safety corridor, and then down more towards the playground and that kind of area. But I guess if we're gonna have vendors, I mean, how many vendors are we gonna have? That's the question, I suppose. And then again, we're talking all this stuff where we may not even have to worry about them getting out of the park at a certain time because COVID may be gone. Well, not gone, but restrictions may be gone. So, yeah.
I think more than anything, I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of, being able to control the population and just having it communicated that, you must exit the park right away after services are done, and just have that plan in place of where can we accommodate everybody at, where can we get them in and out at, in a controlled, I don't want access to all 3 of the gates. It needs to be one entrance, one exit, one way to come and go.
hey Ben, do you think if we were to do something like a barbecue up in the back of our area or something, that would motivate people to get out quicker.
It may, yeah. I mean, we would have the space to do that. That would be cool.
It'd motivate us to come and join you.
We'd love for
Hey,
that to happen. Yeah.
That'd be great.
I mean, we're charging for church this year, but other than that, I'm just kidding. But no, we'd love for that to happen. But yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
if we were to do something like that and make it not like, okay, don't let the door hit you, but make it more of we want to invite you up to this now. And, we need to make sure the park gets cleared out. However,
Yeah.
come and join us up here for that. And I wonder if that would be a really kind of a great way to make that happen and spin a really good light on the clearing out. So
Yeah.
we're willing to do whatever it takes to make it easy on you guys.
Hey,
So-
what's
sounds like
been our attendance for the service in years past?
It's kind of hard to quantify because it looks like about 10 people because the park is massive.
Sure.
And so we believe that the attendance over the last 3 years has averaged between 80 and 100 people.
Okay.
So that was going to kind of be my final thought on everything was as much time and effort and thought we're putting into this. We're not talking about 1,000 people that are really going to impact our numbers. But I still want to stay true to the fact that we committed to a certain number and be able to keep a handle on that as best as we can. So, Aaron, I'm going to leave it up to you to work with Andy and Ben to figure out what's going to be the best location to come and go from and to kind of get those logistics worked out so that we can continue moving forward on it. Sound good?
I did have one other question. What is the sound situation going to be? In the years past, we've used the sound system that was set up there. Is that going to be a possibility this year?
So Aaron and Nathan, you guys can take that one.
Yeah. That would be Nathan.
Well, we're still hiring out for sound, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
But the church in the park is going to be at a different location this year.
No, it should be at the.
Should be right there.
At the stage, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that Shane would be cool with doing it just like in years past, unless we've cut his salary in some way, but I'm not on that budget committee. So.
Yeah, if you're using Shane in the past, he's done that or had somebody that was working for him run that for us. So yeah,
I can sure reach out to him. If you guys want me to reach out to Shane after the meeting or in the morning, and just double check with him to make sure. Worst case scenario, like if Shane was like, "No way, only these hours," or blah blah blah, I would sure be happy to haul down my store PA for you guys to use to pull off the event. I don't foresee Shane having an issue with it, but.
Well, and we use the same board that Shane does, if it's the same board as before.
Are you guys going to have your band and everything set up?
Yeah, the plan is, and we have about 8 pieces.
Okay. Well, I feel like if his budget, if we budgeted for him like we have in years past, and again, this is my first year, so that being what it is, if he's working reduced hours on Saturday, because we're starting a bit later, maybe he could kind of carry those over and show up a little bit earlier on Sunday.
Cool. Hey, Nathan, I just put my email in chat. So if you wanted to just, after you contact him, if you wanted to just fire me off an email.
You got it. I'm going to grab a pen and just take notes here real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Cool. And if that's a logistical piece, I mean, that you guys can work, we can work through offline and, great. So.
Hey, Nathan, I'll shoot you an email tonight. about budget numbers for sound and other stuff. Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think in the past that Shane traditionally, has he dealt with the church in the park part of it?
Yeah, because it's usually his board that's being used. So I do believe he's done the church in the park several years now. So.
Yeah, I think he might have had Robert do it in the past.
Yes. Yeah, it was
lives
Robert.
locally. Yeah. I don't know that Robert's involved this year. I haven't talked to him in a month or so.
The other, oh, sorry, my brain just went out. Never mind, because I can't think of what I was going to say. Sorry. It's one of those days.
I think I have that day every day lately. Oh. All right. Well, I think we have a pretty good handle on that part of it. Then we can move on from here. Everybody comfortable with? Yeah.
I do remember. So one of the things that I would like to do this year is, we do an offering time, a donation time. Is there something, and you guys can kick it around, is there something that would really benefit the city that we could use that time to donate to a nonprofit for the city, something that really connects to the community, that really does make this more of a community worship service and not a Grove community worship service. So if that makes sense, something that really connects to the community. Aaron, you were going like this. It can't go directly to you, buddy. I'm sorry. But no, if you guys can think of that and maybe just email me or Ben with an idea on that, then that's
a good idea for that, Andy, would be to donate that back to Nathan to help with his student studies,
So
services and whatnot.
hang on, I could put a quick end to this conversation. The thing that we have to keep in mind is we are a commission of the city. And so Andy, I love the idea, but I would encourage you to reach out directly maybe to the community liaison versus having our commission get involved with that. I think from an ethical standpoint, I would prefer if you work with the city with that versus our commission.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. We can do that.
You could you don't have to do monetary type stuff. You could volunteer to pick trash up in the park after the event. Just saying, I am advertising for trash pickup during 4th of July weekend. Thank you.
I will.
Noted.
Well, yeah, I know Ramon, so I'll get a hold of him. That'd be great. And Aaron, we do have a youth group, so the teens are always looking to pick up trash. That's perfect. So
there was a youth group that did it before, and they did an excellent job. They had good teachers, but I'm sure I can teach you, and you can teach them very well.
Well, thank you guys very much for having us on here, and we're really excited about doing it. And if you have any questions, mine and Pastor Ben's email are both in the chat. We would love to have you guys reach out to us. And we're kind of both taking point on it this year, and it'll probably be handed off a little more to Ben in the future. But yeah, we'd love to just hear from you if you have any questions. And Nathan, I look forward to hearing from you and getting those logistics worked out too. So yeah, if you don't need anything else from us, I'll probably be jumping off. So.
Well, thank you both for joining us. Ben, it was nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Seeing more of you soon.
Yes, grateful to have the invitation.
So on that note, I did remember something I needed from Vicky when I was going through my notes from our last meeting. Vicky, I had talked to you about reaching out to some of the business owners to see if any of them would be interested in selling the wristbands. Did you get any feedback about that?
No, I'm sorry, but I will take care of doing that and get back with you. And I apologize for dropping the ball there, but I will. I know that the ones that usually are interested in that kind of thing are like Brew. And so I will talk with Mitch and some of the others, and I'll get back with you within the next few days.
Sounds good. Just so you know, we're looking to get those out to the community around June 1st to the 5th.
Okay.
All righty. All right.
I think
Next
the hotel
topic.
would be another place that would probably be willing to manage that.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I believe so too.
The hotel.
Oh, the hotel. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The topic everybody likes to talk about, the budget. I know we're all excited about this. I am way overdue on getting this information over to Tom. There's two things that I am waiting for. All right, there's two things that I'm waiting for there, and that is numbers from Tino on security. Have you been able to look into that yet, Tino?
I was having a hard time getting a hold of our CMS folks. They were going through a spurt of high activity and a little bit of phone tag. But if this is my turn, is it, or you just want a bottom line? Because I can give you a bottom line too.
You can either shoot me it in an email. All I'm looking for is numbers right now to finish it so I can get it over to them. So if you just want to shoot it out in an email, that would be great.
I think this is an opportunity to definitely move toward the privatization of our staffing here. If we're going to try to be flexible at all for the possibility or prepared for the possibility of a sudden change in numbers, we definitely need to have private security lined up for that, because we are not going to be able to get volunteers at the last minute. So anyway, that's what my numbers will reflect, and you're going to see a proposed significant increase due to a variety of reasons, to include the fact that their rates have increased as well. But if we need to scale it down, scale it back, they are available for that as well. So definitely flexible.
Okay, so the information you're going to send me, is that for our planning as of today for 8,000 capacity, or will it be a proposal for both?
I'll send you both. We need to be prepared for both. So
Okay.
yeah, I will send you numbers for both situations.
Perfect. All right, the other part that I'm lacking is just the trash pickup. I know that you're still working on that, Aaron. So why don't you, well, we need to talk about that. And then the line item on the budget that I do know that we need to talk about tonight was the bid that we got for porta potties.
Yeah.
Have you had so just to bring everybody up to speed, we got a bid from Tony that kind of raised a little bit of concern with me, because I need to make sure that we're being financially responsible. We're asking for about half the units, half the time, half the service, but the cost went way, significantly higher this year. So made some phone calls, not that I don't want to use his service, but I need to make sure, like I said, that we're speaking to the money that we're going to be paying out. I did make some phone calls and just got some bids on some other places. And I tasked Aaron to go back to Tony and talk to him to see if there's wiggle room in his quote, where he's at with it. And then we need to make the decision on whether we end up changing that vendor, because it was a significant difference. Aaron, I don't remember what his bid was. I think it was like 50, 55, 58, somewhere in there.
54, 60, yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that we're working on the tail end of, but so if I can just
retrospect, it's been around 3,500 in years past.
Yeah.
Full bore. So.
Which, I fully support the increase in business, and, the cost of doing business goes up. That we're fully supportive of. We have been very supportive in the past of going back and raising our budget without them requesting more funding. But when it comes to half of the services, but a significantly higher cost, we kind of need to start looking into that there. So Aaron, if you can wrap up that with Tony, talk to him. Even if you can just shoot me a ballpark number on what you're finding for the trash stuff that we talked about, and then getting those numbers from IPD, and we'll be able to wrap up that and get it sent off.
I tried to get a hold of Polk County for their, either way, the corrections or community service. It is on the weekend, so that kind of worked out, or would work out for community service, but I haven't heard anything back from them. Be honest, I only reached out last week, so and still haven't heard anything. So.
All right. Well, you're better than me. I reached out to some people today. We're doing good there. Okay. I think as far as things that we needed to catch up on from our past meeting, that was it. So let's go around and just do a quick roundtable, checking in with everybody, seeing where you're at with all of your stuff. Shannon, I'd love to hear where you're at with the safety campaign. We need to start getting that out there. We need to launch that. Check in with Chief Mason if you have anything that you need from us, and then we'll check in with Kimber about CERT. We'll just kind of make our way around.
Yeah, to Nathan's point about, surrounding communities thinking we're going full bore on this thing, the key to this is communications plan. I mean, we have to tell people what we're doing. We have to spell it out for them. So I'm going to be working on a communications plan this weekend. I'll get you something by the end of the weekend, Janice, to approve. And feel free to, to recommend any changes whatsoever. I mean, there's no pride in authorship here, but as far as the safety plan is concerned, I'd like to know the chief and Tino's position on this. The governor has said, so long as you're fully vaccinated, you're not going to have to wear a mask outdoors. And, everybody's going to tell us they're fully vaccinated. So we're going to be back in the same position that we're in with masks, quite honestly, is we're taking people at their word. We're hoping people are going to behave and act like adults. And so I think the more we can put into the safety plan, following the governor's orders, the changes in the orders, I'm sure there'll be more changes between now and then, but just keep that kind of a living document so people know at every step of the way what we're concerned about and what the limits are. I think it's really important that not just do we tell them when stuff's going to happen, how's it going to happen, we have to spell out the limitations too. We have to manage people's expectations. It's not going to be what they expect. It's going to be a whole lot better than what we're able to do last year, I think, but it's still not going to be the total package. But I will get you the communications plan and the start on the safety plan this weekend so that we can start, fine tuning that. And I'll run it past Tom and the city too, to make sure I'm not missing any Polk County or governor's guidance that I just haven't seen yet either. So.
Okay, sounds good. I think one of the reasons why I haven't pushed for this to be out there yet is I know that the guidance is ever changing with us. But as long as your schedule permits, Shannon, I'd really like to be able to start getting this message out around the 20th, which is a week from today, 22nd at the latest. That'll give us a little over a week before wristbands go out for sale. But I know I see that there is a lot of community chatter about what's going on. I don't want to start talking about it until we have that branded safety information to put out there. I don't want to start a whole lot of conversations about it until we are ready to blast that information out to everybody. That way the expectations are clear.
Yeah, and Vicki, if you can let me know as soon as you know what businesses want to sell those wristbands, I want to make sure that all gets wrapped up into the community, as people know where to get stuff.
Yes, I will do that. I'm going to get on that, making my list people to contact tomorrow, ones that I think would be most likely to want to participate in that. And then if I could ask from you, did I hear you say 8,000 is how many you're planning for? Or is that okay? So I can kind of tell them too as they're planning menus and that kind of thing too. So thanks.
Yeah, that's what we're going to cap it out at. I hope that I hope that we're able to reach that, but that's what we're going to max out at.
for each day. 8,000 a day for each day, Vicky.
Mhm.
So really, I mean, you could sell it at 16,000 over 2 days.
All right.
Do you know what
Yes,
they're selling, what the amount is that they're gonna be selling them for?
the wristbands,
Yeah,
$2. And it's for everybody ages 6 and older. 5 and under, there's not going to be a charge, but there will still be a wristband given.
Okay.
That way we can count them. We can count those numbers as well. Part of our verbiage, Shannon, this is probably good for you to include there. Part of our verbiage is the wristbands will be different. So there will be a different for a paid versus a child. Hopefully we can avoid one adult coming in for one adult wristband and 25 children's wristbands. And, you know, we're trying to think of everything here, but can't always hit everything. So, okay. Let's go on to Chief Mason. Do you have anything that you need from us? Anything you need to share with us?
I could share a couple of things. Mitch from the Brew has been in contact with the city. As of today, he was not aware we were doing fireworks, so he was trying to set up his own thing by having some music in front of his business on the street. We let him know that wasn't going to work for Independence Days, at least, because the street was going to be closed. That's one of our entrances there. But he'd still like to do something. So Nathan, he was given your name and told to see if there was any, overlap connection with what you're doing for your music and what he's wanting to bring in. I don't know what exactly. I didn't get a lot of details. It came through Sean Irvine to me, so it didn't.
Yeah, Mitch and I are friends, and we've, he's fired up and spontaneous about bringing music to the community, and I appreciate that. A couple times we've overlapped with like the low budget music in the park of last summer, and Mitch spontaneously having an event on his patio, and so there was.
I thought you might be able to work something out there.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to talk with Mitch about. I would be happy to book as long as they're somewhat local, whoever he had in mind to play his thing. And if he wanted to sponsor that band and it wasn't going to come out of the budget, that'd be even better. Sponsored by Brew.
There you go.
Put a little banner up there for him.
Love the way you think, Nathan.
Creativity in its finest.
And then the hotel reached out and had some questions and requests. I met with Aaron offline to discuss them, and I think it would be good if this commission made some decisions that we could then share the results with them. But I think I'll leave that. Aaron, do you want to cover that during your time, or do you want me to bring it up to save you?
Either way, I'm fine. Yeah, I can cover it. I was planning on talking about it.
Okay, perfect. So then I'm happy to get back to them with your all's decision when we get to that point. And I think that was all I had. A couple of people that had just reached out looking for information.
Yeah, we need to get that information out pretty quick, like. But, okay, let's check it. Tino, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that, or anything that you need from us?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. Kimber, let's check in with you, and I'm just gonna put my headphones on and pretend you're saying that you're all staffed and ready to go. We're all good.
Yeah. What I need to know is, I need to probably chat with you and maybe Tino or Aaron and Tino, whatever makes sense, and come up at like a minimum and a maximum, like what is the minimum they need and doing what task, and then what is the, golden egg, what is the most awesome number. So, so just kind of know exactly where I have to shoot for, and then I'll have a better idea of how close we're going to come to meeting that. If I'm only pulling from within my program, that's 40 to 50 people total. And if you get typical volunteer rates, we might be at 20%. So do that math. It's not going to be a ton of people every day. I am going to reach out to Yamhill County if any program has odds of being willing to maybe send us a few. It would be Yamhill County CERT. They're our biggest partner program. So I will reach out to them, but they also cover some of their own activities on that same weekend. So everyone's a little leery, right? We'll see. So I really would not want to hazard a guess yet, but I definitely need to know really what our minimum is and what exactly they're going to be doing, as that might help me twist a few more arms into coming and doing stuff.
Did your quote that you got, did that include doing bag checks? I know that we had talked about having that company perform the bag searches versus CERT doing it to kind of help alleviate the need to staff that through CERT.
Hands-on.
Right, and we definitely need to take that into account. Yes, I believe we had previously talked about changing roles and responsibilities in regards to the bag checks to our private security folks, and they are fully capable, fully willing, and yes, the numbers that I will send to you will include that increase partially due to the bag check responsibility.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to throw out an email thread later this evening. I'll include Aaron, you, Tino, and Kimber, just to kind of get that conversation going to find those numbers that you need, Kimber.
All right, appreciate
1
it.
million people.
No, Aaron, it's not
That's a
going to happen.
maximum.
It's not going
That's
to
a
happen.
maximum.
Hey,
It's not going to
Kimber,
happen.
there
Yeah.
was another change that I feel I should probably share with you. I won't make Tina
Okay.
do it. We don't plan to set up our big area behind our trailer.
Okay.
We plan to bring our trailer down, but we're going to limit our footprint in the park because of the limited number of hours. So we're going to actually run our logistics, like our people resting and whatnot at City Hall for our staff. But we will still have the trailer there, and you're welcome to throw something up behind it or do something behind yours. But I was hoping that you could have an area for your folks to be without our area, because we don't plan to. It's just a lot of work for 2 days.
Yeah.
It takes us too many hours to justify really doing it.
Yeah, so I
That
have
dash
this
tent comes in,
20
Kimber.
foot. I have this 20-foot diameter dome tent that Aaron's promised to help me set up for the first time, and there's a good reason. So maybe this is our good reason to set that dome tent up for the first time.
The internet's cutting out. I couldn't.
Yeah.
understand what you're
Yeah.
saying.
The only part of that then I would ask is, assuming that means no barbecue going or lunches for the volunteers then either, as we've typically done.
I'm hesitating for Tino to weigh in. We only talked about the setup. We didn't talk about that part.
Yeah, we didn't get
Okay.
that.
The barbecue at City Hall.
All right. We'll chat more about that. We'll figure it out.
We could still be flexible with that, Kimber. It's just we don't want to set up the big, thing.
No, understandable. So I don't have anything else.
Okay. All righty. Well, let's check in with Nathan, Aaron, before we get to you, because that sounded like a little bit of doom and gloom going on.
Oh no, nothing bad.
All right, Nathan, how's it going?
Pretty well. Obviously the budget being what it is, I'm really focusing on just a couple, maybe a few out of town acts. I gave a bunch of the people that I reached out to, since I was kind of underbidding for their service, an option if they got a better gig to, if it's 6 weeks out, which is like right around now, to go ahead and take it, and I can move down the list. That being said, like all the news that happened today is what a couple days ago was kind of what I was fearing. So if other towns are doing, full budget, full bore, moving forward affairs, we might lose a couple of the bands I had in mind. But really harkening back to kind of the original intention of last year, bringing it to like a small town feel. I'm going to get the Old Town Fiddlers, at least as many of them as can make it. And I know they'll play as long as we'll take it, and that's kind of where I run into the danger of filling time, because a lot of people can fill time and play for 2 or 3 hours, but then it's 2 or 3 hours of the same thing that the audience is listening to, and they're going to be bored. So my current strategy is to kind of spread things out, have the playlist, community announcements, maybe some sort of, do we have a social media manager?
So I got word that we had somebody that was approved by the city council to come on. I haven't yet connected with her yet. So traditionally it has been me. And
Word.
I think we have all seen that that is not a good fit for me. I'm not a social media person.
Neither am I.
Yeah, especially when you get into the heart of the event. I remember one year I posted pictures of the watermelon eating contest, and that was all anybody heard from us for the rest of the time. We were just too busy. But even beforehand, it's not something that's on the forefront of my mind. So it gets kind of pushed by the wayside.
Yeah. So here's what I'm at, and this will be part of my conversation with Shane, because I want to make sure that we're all on board with this. And, you know, I'll be turning myself into a stagehand pretty much for the day and shutting down the business. I'll be playing a lot too. So what I've got going is I can fill time. I'm rehearsing a band that's going to do straight up the middle classic rock covers. That'll pad the budget a little bit because we can take up some time, you know, and it's all local people, and we're willing to have guest singers up, and we'll learn your songs if you want. I really need to coordinate with the social media person to get that message out there.
I saw Mike turn his mic on for a minute and then it went off. So are we recruiting maybe? Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm working with the social media person you might have heard of, Janice. So I can reach out to Judy and see if she'd be willing to pick up some of that social media burden here.
Yeah, I'd love to take a meeting with her, and I can design the bullet points, kind of what I'm looking for, and I'm willing to field all the auditions and coordinate the rehearsals and everything. And basically, what I'm thinking is kind of like anybody in town that can sing a few songs and tear it up at karaoke. Like I'll be going to Elks Karaoke this Saturday to headhunt and talent scout. But I want people from our community that are willing to get up and do their best 2 karaoke songs, whatever, throughout the day. And I'll have my band there and we just learn their songs and back them up. And they're kind of doing their thing with a live band for the community. And that was my hope, to sort of, you know, make the event homey and fun. And then I'll bring in some country music ringers. We'll have some killer versions of the national anthem. And on both nights, probably, you know, I think, is that fair to have the anthem on both nights?
Yeah. That's usually how we start off the fireworks show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I've got Chip Von Kusky, who does cello for one of the nights. I don't know if the Old Time Fiddlers would stick around and do the anthem. The average age of that band is like ticking on 80. So they might be wanting to get out of the heat by then. So I'll probably put the fiddlers on kind of early in the day. One thing that I have conflicting information of that will really determine how I stack things. What time are we starting on Saturday? Did we agree on a later start?
4 o'clock.
Okay, that makes life easy. And that's our local focus, is that day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so obviously, budget considered, Sunday is going to be pretty heavily local too.
So just to touch on the whole social media part of it, we are shying away from using our Independence Day social media. We have too broad of a reach of people outside of our area. So we've been relying on the city's website and the city's social media versus Independence Day. So
cool.
You won't see much going on
Sure.
there.
What I want to do is really nuance it to put the kind of the talent show aspect of it out to just our local community, Monmouth and Independence. I don't know how y'all feel about reaching out to Dallas too for the talent show part of it, but trying to keep it really focused on other people's music pages, get some word of mouth going, you know. But it'd be great to have people that I don't know signing up to sing and play music, and I can work all that in once I meet them. I just don't know them yet. So what about Sunday? We're starting at noon, 11.
Oh, I don't remember Sunday. Let me go back through my notes here.
Chief Mason saying 4 also.
That's what I kind of remember. It was
4. Aaron and I talked about it.
No,
Yeah.
because it was going off of when Church in the Park was done. I know. I don't know. I want to say one.
Normally, though, with the parade, it usually
Right.
is over between 2:30 and 3, and then we normally kind of really
We didn't know the
moving
parade
about
answer.
4 o'clock.
We didn't make a decision because we didn't know the parade answer until the day after the last meeting. That's why there was no time. We were waiting to find out about the parade.
Right.
So, Janice,
Sorry, I
Well-
couldn't. A minute it was 4 o'clock, right, for start time on.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
So, boy, that's a lot to drop on my shoulders all at once because I will tell you my thoughts, but again, it's not my decision, it's our decision. And I think my thoughts will probably differ from a few of yours. My thought would be that could be the solution to Church in the Park, is those, well, no, because then we're back to charging people to go to church, and that I do not like that thought concept. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't know, open it up after Church in the Park because we want to make sure that our vendors, granted, there's not going to be the normal amount of vendors that we have. We still want to make sure that they have an opportunity as well as our businesses to take advantage of the crowds that we're going to bring down. I just say we open it up after Church in the Park is cleared out.
so 2 o'clock.
2?
I mean, really, traditionally, the crowd isn't there until later. So you're just creating more work for your safety, security, bag checks, infrastructure people for maybe, I'd say on the high end, 100 people are going to come down and say, we just want to check it out before, because everybody comes down and stays for the fireworks.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Well, in the past, Church in the Park has been over by at the latest noon.
Right. Well, I want to be able to kick off music when people show up. I'm going to start with a playlist until people get seated and announcements and all that good stuff, and kind of be the hype man and let people know what they're in for, and make any announcements for the community as well, unless you guys have a public speaker that you want to wear that hat. I was just assuming I would take that on this year. And then in terms of Sunday, I do need a pretty firm number of when we're going to open it up, just so logistically I can make sure that I don't have to boot somebody off the lineup and break their heart, or that I don't underspend for that day. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a longer day.
Let me check in with Lisa real quick. I know she couldn't join the meeting, but she is messaging me some updates, and let me
As long as
see.
I know by this weekend, I won't be in trouble.
What time?
And Aaron, fireworks dark is typically 10-ish, right?
Yes, 10's kind of the goal number.
Mhm.
Okay.
It is dark enough, probably about 9:45, but 10 generally is the good set number.
So I'll plan on the last band ending at 9:30, roll to playlist and announcements and hype, and then get the national anthem ready. And then we're on standby for you guys.
Yeah, maybe 9:30, 9:45.
Okay, so I need 5.5 hours of entertainment on Saturday and an undetermined amount on Sunday. But I think we're really looking good. The old time fiddlers would play for 4 hours alone if we let them. But the kids might, have to take naps.
I'm gonna tell you, I play the fiddle, and that would be a lot for me to listen to.
All right, I know. And it's a lot for anybody. And here's what I'm trying to keep in mind, Of course, I love live music. It captivates me all day. There's always something for me to hold on to. But not everybody's a musician. And also, a lot of people really, the fireworks are the big thing for them. And they're there just staking out their spot because they want a great seat at the fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure they're entertained as well. And I want all the entertainers to get a chance to entertain them. I don't think we're putting anybody in a good position by asking them to drag out this, long ass set to fill time. We'd be better off with a playlist and shorter sets. So just let me know as soon as you know Sunday how many hours of entertainment we'll need, and then that'll finalize my thing. But I think as it sits, I've got enough invitations out there kind of in a holding pattern that we should be good to go, and it'll be heavily country on Sunday, country and Americana. And then Saturday will be a little more diverse and more local, but both days will be mostly local.
Okay. Just so you have a heads up, I have been getting a lot of inquiries as far as if we have a lineup yet, or anybody for sure that we're going to be having in there. So as soon as you start getting that information solidified,
yeah,
shoot it over to me so I can answer those
Yeah,
questions.
I sure will. My goal is to have the lineup set a full month in advance, so we have a month to advertise.
Jan, before you move on to Aaron, what time does Church in the Park start on Sunday?
Traditionally, it's been around 10.
Okay. And then Vicky's got a question in the chat.
Yeah, I saw that. You're muted, Janice.
My nice little message popped up letting me know that. I did send out a couple of messages about it. I haven't heard from Terry yet this year, but I have talked with Jennifer at Anytime Fitness about it. So I know that they were working on it. I don't have any plans. The canceling of the parade, I think, really they're going to have to change it because without the parade, their traditional route is not going to be. It's not going to be a safe place, so they're going to have to kind of change that up. And last I know, they were talking about it, so I will have an update on that at our next meeting. And I did get a message. Natasha is our social media person, our publicity person. She didn't get the link to be on the meeting, but she is watching, so we'll make sure that she gets added. What's that?
Natasha, the Natasha I know.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll make sure that she gets the link to join us next time. So we answered the question about the fun run. Let me do some digging around because I know that we have vendor applications already out, signed, and back. I just want to double check with Lisa on what that looks like, what we told the vendors. I know we don't have a lot of them back, so if we need to adjust what's in the contract, it'll be easy. And just in case anybody was wondering, because I too get messages. I get more messages about our vendors than I do about our music lineup, entertainment lineup. So far, Lisa let me know that we have Dippin' Dots, Kona Ice, Lemon Thrillers, Gnome Nuts is a verbal because he's out of town right now, and drum roll, we have Pinkies. Woohoo! Oh, I know that she's talked to a lot more than that, and she's actively working on all of that. So, like I said, not going to be what we're used to, but we're gonna pull it together.
And they all know that there's only going to be 8,000 per day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
I say yes, but I assume that message is being passed along.
Yeah.
What is the fee for the vendors?
I want to say it's 150 craft vendor and 200 food vendor this year. So because we're not putting on a normal time, they're not going to have as much time down there. We did drastically cut the vendor fees back to accommodate for that.
And that would include both days?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, and that's for, let me clarify, that's for a 10 by 10 foot space. They can have more than that, not less, but they can buy more either by the foot or 2 spaces or anything in that capacity. If it's somebody with a food truck, we just take the length of their food truck. So it could be something crazy like 18 feet, but it's a minimum of 10.
Okay. And 150 and 300.
I think
50 and 200.
I'm sorry?
2 for a food vendor.
Oh, 2. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, Aaron.
All right.
The Aaron show.
Yeah. Okay, so the hotel had reached out to Bob and I and asked if they could utilize the parking lot behind the Elks for their employee parking during the event. I assume they're planning on having several guests, so that would be where the parking would be taken up in their spot. We talked about it, not necessarily totally opposed from it, but I was planning on using that as handicap parking. Because the Osprey gate is very well accessible for handicap accessibility, and there's ADA ramps on both sides, the sidewalks, and they're going into the middle of the park, not the hill part of the park. And I just plan that being the best entrance for ADA compliance kind of stuff. So we had talked with Tom and Bob, and I kind of made a decision saying that they're more than welcome to use the movie theater parking lot as a designated place for their employees to park, but they can also find off-street parking if that's up to them. You got to talk to me. There you go.
Yeah. If they park the week before, they can find off-street parking.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, truly, you might want to pass that message along. If they're going to utilize street parking, they better park early
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and plan to stay all night.
The other thing that I had that was kind of pressing was fencing to fence off the entire facility. We cut it back to half of the Independence Landing Park. It's about pretty much even with where the new apartments start. So it would be the backside of the hotel parking lot that we'd fence over to the apartment building and then down to the river, and just utilize a corner of the park more than the whole thing. There was some emphasis of not closing off the entire park area for exercisers for 2 days and that kind of stuff. That very heavily traveled. Kind of amazing actually how many people use that park. So not necessarily going to be that way every year, but at least for this year for sure. Doing half or a quarter of that park. Besides, as you get around the corner more, it's a little harder to see the fireworks, and also kind of a little more safety wise for people in the apartments and stuff like that. So, but it'll cut down quite a bit of fencing as well that we would have to rent per se, which is generally donated, but rented. I think it was 1,800 feet total if Aaron Young was not there and the hotel and apartments are not there with their fencing that we've utilized in the past. But 1,300 feet would go from the city hall to the roundabout, and then the rest of it is up C Street to the main gates. So it's pretty good chunk of fencing to install.
How many, what's the capacity for handicap parking in that parking lot?
I knew you were going to ask that question. I believe there is, I want to say 30 spaces in there, but I don't know if that's an accurate number or not. And then I do believe that the Elks are entitled to some of those, but I don't remember for sure. I was hoping to use that whole parking lot as a handicap parking lot. It would be very cool. I think it would work out really good for keeping some of them happier.
Well, then make it happen.
I just
Yeah.
counted, Aaron, you're right. 36. I just counted them on Google.
Oh, well, how about that?
Pretty good. So, are we still looking at using C Street like we typically do as well?
The
The answer to that would be yes. Thank
yes, I think so. I just that we have to monitor that generally in order to. So Kimber would need to have a CERT team there.
Well, so kind of where that's where my head was at is we have alleviated by using private security a lot of her demand that we keep at the gates to do back checks. That maybe that would be it'd be easier for her to swing somebody in that position there.
Yeah, or we need to find a volunteer of some sort to manage the handicap parking on C Street. Because the road will be closed. I believe we agreed on that.
I wasn't as confident. I was looking at you like, wait, isn't
I
on both
know.
days or only on one day? I guess I don't remember that. Tino, do you remember?
I can't remember exactly what we agreed on because in the past it's only the one day.
Right.
And we agreed that it's easy enough to kind of control the flow of traffic and pedestrians on Hometown Pride Day. So
we talked about doing it both days because of how horrible that north entrance is if it's not in the street.
yeah,
At last meeting, that was the last word, but since
both
then,
days.
yeah, was both days. But since then, there's been additional conversation as to whether that made the most sense on both days.
I didn't even think you were going to have that north entrance. I thought you were
Yeah.
only going to have C
Now
Street,
you're really
Osprey.
yeah
Right?
starting to mess with me, Janice.
No. We
There was
talked
no
about,
north entrance.
no. Yeah, we were doing north, south, and footbridge. Aaron, you said you didn't want to do Osprey.
No. Osprey, Footbridge, and C Street.
Yeah. And you were going to move C Street down further.
Yes, because it was a 8,000 capacity, and that's a normal Hometown Pride Day, and we only ever do Hometown Pride. We don't have a north gate on Hometown Pride. Just
I think you guys are trying to pull the wool over my eyes here.
I'm
Wrote it down.
serious.
If we're doing it, we're not doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I need to let Stacy know as well. So we're looking at C Street,
C Street.
Footbridge, and Osprey.
Yes, 3 gates.
I'm writing this down again. So that means no road closure then?
That is completely up to the police department. I don't think that we necessarily need one because we've always managed in the past on Hometown Pride with that amount of crowd. If we're sticking to that 8,000 number. If we're going to go, if things change, then possibly. I believe that we had requested the permit from ODOT. And if we didn't use it, we didn't use it. But I feel that we could probably do fine without closing the road, which in turn might keep some of the business downtown flowing better. So,
Are there any safety concerns with having a lot of people towards the evening time walking down Osprey to get to that gate?
no,
traffic going there?
Osprey's is very well lit. It's probably lit better than Main Street, to be honest with you. And we could encourage the flow of traffic out Osprey more than up Main Street towards C Street, and then it might not be a bad thing for, especially after the fireworks, would be to have some sort of a crosswalk, not guard, but monitor or something along those lines, just to help traffic. Hold on, there's a flow of people, and then stop the crowd for a second to let traffic go by, and then let the crowd go again. Kind of thing.
Yeah, if I go way back in the history books, we never closed Main Street for years, and we would just have traffic control units that would stop vehicles and allow people, and then stop people and allow vehicles even after the event. However, I will say the reason that we switched to closing the road was because that got dangerous. But with these numbers, it should be very manageable, I would think, if we really only have 8,000 people.
Yeah, I believe the big push too was to keep people from gathering at the top of the park during the fireworks show, and actually impeding traffic during the show.
All righty.
So at this point, then, are we going to say no to the road closure? Because that will alleviate a lot of extra behind the scenes work that needs to be done.
As long as we are not going to have a north entrance, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I honestly don't see where we would need the north entrance. If we move C Street back just a touch, gives us a little more crowd expansion space during the wristband applying process. And then as far as Stacy for the gates, there will be no money collection going on, so it would just be wristband
Checking wristbands.
checking wristbands. So that would help her out.
Yeah, we
I do think that if we had a abundant amount of wristbands left over before the event, that we should try to do some sort of a mobile walk the line wristband sales, point of sale at the gate or pre-gate, not at the gate.
Yeah, so that's the plan. I'm not going to have them mobile. I'm going to have them stationary at each gate if there is an abundance of them left, staged far ahead of the gate to go ahead and take care of that so that when they get to the gate, there's no hang up, there's no hold up there. With this setup of C Street, Footbridge, and Osprey, what does it look like for exits? How do you see the exit at Osprey and the exit at C Street going?
We did an exit at Osprey in the years past.
Not with an entrance and an exit at the same time.
Yeah, that's a logistics thing I can work out. I can make that happen. I can make that happen.
I know that we want to keep a dedicated exit area.
Yeah, and if it comes down to it, when we fence across the front of the park, we could have a exit. Well, I mean, we're going to need somebody to monitor the exit, obviously, but we can have somebody at the gate where we can break the gate open and exit people out on the sidewalk in front of the fountain, near the fountain, either side of the fountain, wherever we make it work.
Yeah, that statement right there makes me a little nervous. We can make it work, because let me tell you where you're going to be, and that's not going to be in the park.
I got this covered. No problem. I got pictures of the gates from last year. Or the last time we did this.
Scott's going to be handling turning on the lights. You're going to be across the way with your guys.
Adam will have the cattle prod and directing traffic. Oh, yeah.
So we're running out of actual bodies in the park that can move that gate.
Yeah. We'll get it figured
out. By when? I need a date here.
Yeah. I'll have an idea by the next meeting for sure.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
I don't know if Nathan's got Tourette's or what. But he is
it looks like a really good conversation going on.
I'm sorry, an old friend and my attorney, who I hardly ever get to see, was knocking on my window after I had said my thing. If I missed anything that you think was critical to me, I'm sorry. Just
not at all.
Email me or text me. Otherwise, I'll see you at the next meeting. And Janice, I'll reach out to you as soon as I have the lineup set, of course, and I'll be talking to Mike to talk with Judy about the social media stuff.
Okay.
Did we figure out what time on Sunday too?
No, I'll let you know what that's going to look like.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. So just so you know, May is the month that we traditionally move to 2 meetings a month. So the next meeting will be May 27th.
Even better. Great. Okay. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All righty.
All right. Thanks. I do not have Tourette's. Good night.
Good night.
All right. I think we've covered a lot of ground. So right now, the most pressing things is Shannon getting that safety message out and going. Lisa is actively working on getting some more vendors in. And the next step is to get the wristbands out. So Vicki, I'll wait to hear from you on that. I'll connect with you on that.
Okay. I've been writing an email as we.
Good deal. All right, Tino, Aaron, if you guys can get me your numbers, unless anybody else has anything we need to cover, I think we're good for the night.
Janice, I'm going to fold Natasha into that email at the end of the weekend. So she's
good deal.
Doing.
Thank you.
If somebody's taking notes, oops, we need to include Natasha in the meeting spread.
Yeah, she'll get it. I already wrote it down here. And I am taking notes. However, I don't know if you guys take the same notes that I take after tonight.
I take good notes too. It's being recorded. Rewind. Oh.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Janice, I'm sorry. Setting the time for Sunday right now is dependent on what's been sent out to the vendors. Am I understanding that right?
Kind of. I'm not going to base what time we start based on that. I just want to make sure if we're going to talk about a huge time difference that gets conveyed to the vendors. So I want to check in on what we put in the application for sure before we kind of make that decision. And I'll loop you in pretty quickly, Tino. I know that's important for you to need to know for your planning part of it, but I just want to connect with that. But I mean, vendors aside, what are everybody's thoughts? And no, 8 o'clock is not an option.
No. I'm definitely trying to be more reasonable in that and trying to not be completely subjective, but for so many different reasons, to include the sake of consistency, I do believe a 4 p.m. start on Sunday would be good. Less confusion. Okay. People thought 2 o'clock. I thought 4 o'clock. Yep. 4 o'clock both days. My 2 cents.
I agree with that. All right, I'll take that into consideration when we make that decision. All right.
I have one more announcement. Sergeant Headland, are you still here? Sergeant Headland? Yes, he just unmuted. So we're doing a switch of duties, and next year Sergeant Headland is going to be on this commission as the police liaison. So he's hanging out from here until this year's event, shadowing Tino and helping out. They'll probably split the 2 days, quite honestly, and one will be working one and one will work the other. So Justin Headland, for those of you that don't know him, in his beautiful outdoor scenery there.
All righty. Well, thank you.
So I did reach out to Hollywood Lights.
Oh, yeah.
I have not. I've reached out to them several times. I've not gotten a call back. So I don't know if they've just been swamped or what. They do run the convention center and the expo center. So I know they've probably been pretty busy, and they probably may not have much of a crew left. So I'll continue to rattle their cage, but I don't know. We may, depending on vendor, we may be fine on power.
That's what I was going to say. For what it's worth, we're not going to have the big draw that we normally have. We're keeping it limited purposefully.
I was thinking about the vendors that you already gave me on a list there, and are we going to utilize the C Street vendor stations, or are we going to try to keep them all down in the park area?
That's something we'll tackle when we get a final list of who that's going to be. I've kind of held off on planning out what the park's going to look like until we know, because obviously we have to think of things such as having pinkies there. We need them in a location that's going to fit for them. And as well as making sure that there is proper space between all of our vendors and wherever we're at then. Right now, we have to plan for that. So as soon as we get a better idea of who all is committed, we'll tackle that map and see what it looks like, and then meet the electrical needs as well.
Okay. I may have a few contacts too that I could reach out to if I need something more.
All righty. Shall we try leaving again?
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
The 20 what?
Oh, 27th, I think is what I said, right?
Yeah. Okay. Just,
yep.
I need to make sure. Okay.